problem 6 on 1D bar using elimination approach. See the problem. Consider the bar shown in figure. An axial load P is equal to 60 kN is applied at its midpoint. Using elimination method of handling boundary conditions, determine the first one, nodal displacement, second one, stress in each element, third one, reaction at supports. Take A is equal to 250 mm square, E is equal to 200 GPa. This is the figure given. See, it's a uniform bar of length 300 mm. One end of the bar is fixed and there is a load P, that is 60 kN is acting at the center of this bar. See the free end of the bar. Here there is a support at a distance of 0.12 mm from the free end of this bar. See, this problem is somewhat different from the problems what we have solved earlier. So it's a very important problem from the point of view of your examination. The same problem has appeared in your VTA question paper so many times. Next we will see the solution. See here, first we will find the maximum tip deflection. Maximum deflection of the bar at the free end. From mechanics of material, we know the formula to find out the expansion of the bar. Delta L is equal to PL by AE. Here P is 60 kN, 60 into 10 to the power of 3 into length. Here we have to take length 150 mm because the load is acting at a distance 150 mm from the fixed end. Therefore here L becomes 150 divided by the area is given, it is 250 mm square into Young's modulus 200 gigapascal, 200 into 10 power 3. We have converted gigapascal into Newton per mm square because the length of the bar is in mm. So delta L becomes 0.18 mm. See the maximum tip deflection of the bar, it is 0.18 mm. See, the maximum tip deflection is 0.18 mm, but the gap between the free end of the bar and the support is only 0.12 mm. Since the gap is only 0.12 mm, the bar cannot expand or bar cannot extend up to 0.18 mm. Means the maximum tip deflection of the bar will be only 0.12 mm. Since the gap between the free end of the bar and the support is only 0.12 mm, the bar cannot extend up to 0.18 mm. See here, if this support is not there, then the bar will expand up to 0.18 mm. Since there is a support at a distance of 0.12 mm, this support will not give the bar to expand up to 0.18 mm. So the maximum tip deflection of the bar is only 0.12 mm. Therefore, maximum tip deflection of the bar is only 0.12 mm. That means Q3 will be equal to 0.12 mm. Means in this problem we know the displacement at its free end, that is 0.12 mm. Means the maximum deflection of the free end is only 0.12 mm. See the problem here, we know the boundary condition at both the ends. At fixed end it is 0 and at the free end the deflection will be 0.12 mm. Suppose if the gap is more than the maximum tip deflection, then the problem becomes similar to the problem what we have solved earlier. Next we know the procedure, FE model. Here for the finite element model we have to use two 1D bar element because there is a load applied at the midpoint of this bar. Means from here to here you have to use one element and here to here you have to use one more element. Therefore totally you have to use two elements for the discretization process. So FE model. This is element 1. This is element 2. Node numbering 1, 2, 3. And the nodal forces F1 at node number 1, F2 at node number 2 and F3 at node number 3. Next we will consider the nodal displacement. At node 1 we will take Q1, at node 2 Q2 and at node 3 the displacement is Q3. This is the finite element model of the given problem. Next is elemental stiffness matrix. Elemental stiffness matrix. You know the formula, K is equal to AE by L 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. For element 1, K1 is equal to A1, it is 250 mm square into the Young's modulus 200 gigapascal. You have to convert it into megapascal, 10 power 3 divided by the length, it is 150. 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. After simplification we will get K1 is equal to 10 power 5 outside, inside is 3.33 minus 3.33 minus 3.33 plus 3.33. Here see the FE model. The element number 1, it connects node number 1 to 2. Therefore here you have to give the number 1, 2, 1, 2. Next, elemental stiffness matrix for second element. For element 2, K2 will be is equal to, see the problem here, the lengths are same for both the element. Similarly cross section area is also same for both the element, and also the material property is same for both the elements. Therefore the elemental stiffness matrix of second element will be same as the first element. So K2 is again 10 power 5 3.33 minus 3.33 minus 3.33 3.33. Now for the node numbering, see the FE model. Here element number 2 connects node number 2 to 3. That's why here I have to give the node numbering 2, 3, 2, 3. Next is global stiffness matrix. Global stiffness matrix, that is K is equal to K1 plus K2. See the FE model. here there are 3 nodes. Each node has got 1 degrees of freedom. Therefore, the order of the stiffness matrix will be 3 cross 3. Therefore, the global stiffness matrix K is equal to 10 power 5 outside node numbering 1, 2, 3, here also 1, 2, 3. See here, I need the element corresponding to 1 and 1. See K1, here the element corresponding to 1 and 1, it is 3.33. But here in K2, we don't have any element corresponding to 1 and 1. Therefore, it is 3.33. See, next we need element corresponding to 2 and 1. See the elemental stiffness matrix of first element K1. Here the element corresponding to 2 and 1 is minus 3.33. But in K2 we don't have any element corresponding to 2 and 1. Therefore, here in the global stiffness matrix the element corresponding to 2 and 1 is only minus 3.33. Next we need the element corresponding to 3 and 1. See K1, here we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 1. Also in K2 we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 1. Therefore, here in the global stiffness matrix the element corresponding to 3 and 1 will be 0. Since the stiffness matrix is a symmetric matrix, I can write here minus 3.33 and 0. Next we need element corresponding to 2 and 2. See the elemental stiffness matrix of first element. Here element corresponding to 2 and 2 is 3.33. Similarly in K2 the element corresponding to 2 and 2 is 3.33. Therefore here you have to add 3.33 and 3.33. It becomes 6.66. So the element corresponding to 2 and 2 is 6.66. Next we need element corresponding to 3 and 2. See the elemental stiffness matrix of first element. Here we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 2. But here in K2 we have element corresponding to 3 and 2, that is minus 3.33. Therefore here it is minus 3.33. Next this becomes minus 3.33 due to symmetry. Next we need element corresponding to 3 and 3. See here we don't have any element corresponding to 3 and 3, but here we have element corresponding to 3 and 3, that is 3.33. So here it is 3.33. So this is the global stiffness matrix. Next is global displacement vector. Global displacement vector, that is Q is equal to Q1, Q2, Q3. Next global force vector. Global force vector, that is F is equal to F1, F2, F3. F1 is the applied load at node number 1. See the figure. Here at node 1 we don't have any force. Therefore this F1 becomes 0. Applied load at node number 1 becomes 0. Therefore F1 is 0. Next F2, applied load at node number 2. See the figure. At node number 2 we have a force P which is equal to 60 kilonewton. Therefore here F2, applied load at node number 2, it is 60 kilonewton. F2 is 60 kilonewton, 60 into 10 power 3. F3 is the applied load at node number 3. See the figure. Here at node number 3 there is no load. means applied load at node number 3 F3 will be equal to 0. F3 is 0. Next is equilibrium condition. Equilibrium condition, that is K into Q is equal to F. K is 10 power 5 3.33 minus 3.33 0 minus 3.33 0 6.66 minus 3.33 minus 3.33 3.33 into Q, that is Q1 Q2 Q3 is equal to 0 60 into 10 power 3 0. Next is applying the boundary condition. Applying the boundary condition. See the figure here. See, one end of the bar is fixed, means here the displacement will be equal to 0, that is Q1 will be equal to 0, and here the displacement will be equal to 0.12 mm. Means in this problem we know the displacement at node number 1 as well as at node number 3. So from figure, displacement at node number 1, that is Q1 is equal to 0, and displacement at node number 3 Q3 is equal to 0.12 mm. Now according to the elimination method of handling boundary condition, since we know the displacement at two different nodes, we can eliminate corresponding rows and columns in this equilibrium equation. Since we know the boundary condition at node number 1 and 3, we can eliminate first row, first column, and third row, third column. So using elimination method, eliminating corresponding rows and columns. See, we know the boundary condition at node number 1, that is Q1 is equal to 0. So we can eliminate first row, first column. We will eliminate first row, first column. Similarly, we know boundary condition at node number 3, that is Q3 is equal to 0.12 mm. Therefore, we can eliminate third row and third column. So we will eliminate third row, third column in the equilibrium equation. Now see here, the equilibrium equation reduces to 10 power 5 into 6.66 into Q2 is equal to, see the change in force vector, here it is 60 into 10 power 3. See here we have eliminated minus 3.33. So in the force vector it becomes minus 3.33 into the known corresponding displacement. Here it is first column, therefore the known corresponding displacement is Q1 is equal to 0. So it becomes 0. Next, minus, see here we have eliminated minus 3.33. Therefore it is minus into minus 3.33 0.33 into the known corresponding displacement, that is Q3 is 0.12 into 0.12. If you simplify this, it becomes 10 power 5 into 6.66 into Q2 is equal to, see here we have taken only minus 3.33, but outside we have 10 power 5, so I have to include that 10 power 5 also, means minus 3.33 into 10 power 5. Here also it is into 10 power 5, but this term becomes 0 because here we have 0. So on simplification we will get this F as 99960. So on simplification we will get Q2 is equal to 0.1501 mm. This is the displacement at node number 2. And we know Q3 is 0.12 mm. Q1 is anyhow it is 0 because it is fixed. Now these are the two nodal displacement. At node number 2 the displacement is 0.1501 mm, and at node number 3 the displacement is 0.12 mm. Next we need stress in each element. Stress in each element. So for element 1, sigma 1 is E1 by L1 minus 1 Q1 Q2 is equal to, E is 200 GPa, 200 into 10 power 3 divided by the length is 150 minus 1 Q1 is 0, Q2 is 0.1501. If you simplify this, you will get sigma 1 is equal to 200.13 Newton per mm square. This is the stress in element number 1. Next, stress in second element. For element 2, sigma 2 is E2 by L2 minus 1 Q2 Q3 is equal to 200 into 10 power 3 by length it is 150 minus 1 into Q2 it is 0.1501, Q3 is 0.12. On simplification we will get sigma 2 is equal to minus 40.13 Newton per mm square. This is stress in second element. Next is support reaction. Support reaction. We have the formula. Support reaction R is equal to K into Q minus F. See the figure? Here we have the support at both the ends. Therefore, you have to find out R1 and R3. At node number 2, we don't have any support, means no need to calculate R2. Even if we calculate R2, it will be equal to 0. So reaction at first support, that is at node number 1, R1 is K11 Q1 plus K12 Q2 plus K13 Q3 minus F. We substitute all the values, and on simplification we will get R1 is equal to minus 49.98 33, which is nearly equal to minus 50 kilonewton. Therefore, support reaction R1 is minus 50 kilonewton. Next, R3 support reaction at node number 3 is K31 Q1 plus K32 Q2 plus K33 Q3 minus F3. Substitute all the values and simplify this. We will get R3 will be equal to minus 10 kilonewton. Thank you.